Quý khán giả đang theo dõi chương trình phát hình của Đài Việt Face TV. Ngày hôm nay Thanh Thảo rất hân hạnh tiếp chuyện cùng với ba người giữ những vai trò rất quan trọng trong cuốn phim Ride the Thunder. Quan trọng ở chỗ một người thì là đạo diễn, còn hai người khác là những người phụ tá đạo diễn trong vấn đề về tuyển chọn diễn viên cũng như là về hình ảnh. Và những hình ảnh thật đẹp trong cuốn phim Ride the Thunder là do cô Carmen Cabana ngồi bên cạnh Thanh Thảo đây. Bên cạnh của cô Carmen là ông Fred Koster. Quý vị đã gặp ông trong phần giới thiệu của chúng tôi trong phần nói chuyện lần trước cùng với cô Kiều Trinh và Alan Ford. Và thưa quý vị, người ngồi bên cạnh ông Fred Koster là bà Heidi Koster, là phu nhân của ông đạo diễn. Và cả ba người sẽ nói chuyện với Thanh Thảo cũng như giới thiệu đến quý vị những điều quý vị cần biết về cuốn phim Ride the Thunder. Không phải từ cuốn phim mà quý vị nhìn thấy trên màn ảnh, mà là những việc họ đã làm đằng sau hậu trường sân khấu để đưa cuốn phim đó đến với quý vị. Xin kính chào quý vị và mời quý vị theo dõi phần nói chuyện của chúng tôi. We will conduct the interview in English in a moment, but let me tell my viewers that the movie is in English.
Oh, great.
Okay. Thưa quý vị, cuốn phim này được thực hiện và tài tử nói tiếng Anh, cho nên nếu quý vị yêu thích cuốn phim này, nhất là những quý vị cao niên, xin quý vị đem theo con cháu hoặc em trong nhà để những người này giải thích cho quý vị những điều mà các diễn viên cố tình gửi gắm đến quý vị bởi vì là tiếng Anh và rất tình cảm. Họ có những xúc động thật sự trong cuốn phim. Nếu mà quý vị hiểu được thì quý vị sẽ thấy cuốn phim còn hay hơn nữa. Một lần nữa, cuốn phim đang được trình chiếu tại Regency Theatre, địa chỉ là 6721 đường Westminster, thành phố Westminster. Cuốn phim đang được chiếu 10 suất một ngày. Nếu quý vị không mua được vé thì quý vị cứ chờ, sẽ có suất khác trong cùng một ngày. Và mời quý vị theo dõi phần nói chuyện. Let's start with Heidi. The woman behind Fred Koster must be a strong woman. For the movie to be successful as it is right now, I believe the casting is really important.
Absolutely.
Could you tell us how difficult was the casting as compared to other casting?
I think that the casting really is based upon the characters. In the book that Richard wrote, 600 pages, very lengthy, goes into great detail, and I think that the characters that we cast have to really fit the role, and so oftentimes it's a matter of looking and seeing what a person looks like. Do they look like who they are portraying? Do they fit the part? And then from there, can they carry it through? And I think that it was a fabulous job. There were hundreds of people showing up for casting calls, and it was very difficult and very challenging, and I think that the cast that we came up with is incredible.
So do you ever happen to see a person walking in the room and say, that person is good for the part?
Yeah, sure, really? Absolutely, absolutely.
Do you and Mr. Fred Koster have different opinion regarding that ever? In this movie alone.
In this movie, the difference of opinion, Fred would always ask my opinion and ideas and recognize it's my opinion. So ultimately, it's his vision with the script, the screenplay that you have. It's his vision that he sees that's going to be on the screen, and he ultimately has to fulfill that role, regardless of what I say. But I'm very good at giving my opinions also.
Now, I understand when you have a group of people trying to make a movie, it's good that you talk about a movie after the time that you're on the set. But you are being his wife. Would that play an important aspect to the success of the film because you have to get to talk afterwards too?
I think it's really good because in his particular position, he was the leader. And everyone looked for the guidance, the direction. What are your expectations? What are you looking for? What do you want? And obviously trying to portray and provide that. But then the opportunity, once the day is over, to decompress,
yes,
to talk about what worked, maybe what didn't work, what you want to do differently. Again, asking opinions. Do you think that this worked or didn't work? As he was in the editing process, he would show me sections of the movie and ask me, what do you think? Oftentimes, all he had to do was look at me and see the tears running down my face to know, yeah, I think that worked. So,
oh, wonderful. Wonderful to know that you have moments like that.
Absolutely.
But of course, because being his wife, you know what he likes and what he dislikes. And you know if he has a vision, the direction of the vision would go, correct?
Yes. With this particular movie, I compare it like a puzzle. I saw so many different parts of it. To be honest with you, I never saw it from beginning to end until I went to the theater on Friday.
Oh.
And to see all of those pieces put together, it was amazing to be able to take the information, the fabulous book that Richard wrote, and put it into a movie, to take it and condense it into a movie that when it was over, I was overwhelmed. It was incredible. I thought it was a fabulous job.
Thank you so much for your opinion. It brings me more perspective to go see the movie now, and my viewers to go see the movie. Let's go to Carmen, and then I'll come back to you, Fred. For Carmen Cabana, if you have watched the first interview that I have with the people involved in the movie Ride the Thunder, I spoke to Mr. Eric St. John, the person who portrayed the main character, Major John Ripley, in the movie. This is his wife. And again, he is so lucky to have a strong woman behind him. She is responsible for all of the beautiful cinematography, right?
Cinematography, correct.
Right, for the movie. But of course, under the guidance of the director, Fred Koester. Tell me the challenges you have to face to complete the movie.
Well, with Ride the Thunder, we have multiple challenges. For one, Hawaii is a beautiful location, yet difficult in the sense that the weather changes. Like, we have many scenes where we'll start filming in the sun, and then suddenly rain will come in, or like clouds will change the lighting, or we have to hike to certain areas to get to these locations. But overall, you know, every challenge you feel very motivated to overcome when you have a great film like this, and a director that is so specific with his vision. Like Fred told me from the very beginning, you know, I want to represent the beauty of Vietnam. I want this film to feel majestic, to feel large, and I want that when people see it in the theater, they're blown away by, you know, by the way it looks and by the nature. And I think that's that made a lot of sense because it's a beautiful representation of the tragedy that the Vietnam War was. Because Vietnam is a very, very gorgeous, you know, country with so many resources and so many things. So we really wanted to people in the audience not only to remember those moments there, but remember how their country was like and, you know, what it felt to be there, even though, you know, we filmed it in Hawaii. But that was very important to remind people their homeland.
I've seen some of the shot. I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen some of the shot in the trailer, and some of the shots show people, dead corpse, hanging with their feet hanging from a very different angle than from any other movies about Vietnam War that I've seen. My reaction was that it was so beautifully done, and it's actually had a very sad, poetic element to it. Was it your idea or his idea? Do you ever have differences in opinion?
Actually, I think we're both very compatible.
Yes.
I mean, Fred is a poetic guy, and he definitely didn't want to be gruesome. This wasn't about, like, making people feel bad, which most Vietnam War movies are. They're about the violence and the gruesomeness.
And lots of blood everywhere.
Yeah,
you know.
which is why, you know, we don't have, for instance, actual torture scenes with the VC. Like, we're very aware that the VC, they were, like, terrible, and they would treat people like animals, and they had terrible tortures. But we did not want to capture that on film because it wasn't necessary. Like, people who live through it and who've seen all these other movies, they know about it. So for us, we wanted to give a more poetic representation of death and the loss, but yet stay focused more on the emotional side and the story of the characters, like their connection, for instance, the connection of being with his wife, the connection of, you know, these people in the re-education camp with their country, with their idea of freedom, and all those things. So we were definitely going for that, right?
I think we got it.
Plato has said that only the dead seen the last of war. So war is something that will happen, will recur from this country to the next country. Do you have any message you want to send about war, about even though of the beautiful poetic pictures that you show, you still have a message about the sadness and I would say, the meanness of war to the viewers?
I would say
the vast majority of people, no matter where you go in the world, people are people. And the vast majority of people are good people. We have our human weaknesses, but the vast majority are good people, but it's a small percentage that manipulate people into these horrible wars. And that's what happened in Vietnam, is that the vast majority of the people were good, but there was a small percentage that was the communist, that is really a dictatorship. And I think in the movie we brought out that the vast majority of people are good. But unfortunately, the few number of communists were able to really turn the tide and create a beautiful country like Vietnam into a war-torn place to live.
So, for you, from the last interview, you said that you have finally spoken the truth to this movie about the Vietnam War, about the characters in it, the people in it who are heroes, not only the Vietnamese, but American people who were involved in the war. Are you satisfied with the result?
It's only the beginning, because we have an hour, 45 minutes to tell the story. So this is a beginning of telling the truth. But I'll tell you, I think after watching the movie, people will have a different perspective of the Vietnamese people. The Vietnamese people that see it will feel, I think a lot of them have felt redeemed, in the sense that, okay, now America is going to know the beginning of the truth, because the truth is so large. And I think down the road what we'll probably do eventually is do subtitles, because I really want the Vietnamese people who speak only Vietnamese to understand what's said in the movie, because there's been a lot of thought and research put into the movie to deliver the true story, and to also understand with the people of Vietnam that you fought very hard for your country. The Americans went over there, fought very hard with you, and the war was actually won, but then the Vietnamese people were betrayed.
What about the veterans? You said that the
American veterans?
Yeah. Who came to see the movie?
Oh, yes.
Reaction?
This movie is for all of America, first of all. It's a special movie for the Vietnamese because it tells the truth of your story. The other one is that it's for all of America. And Richard and I, along with the whole crew and cast, we want America to know the truth. And this is the beginning of the truth. And this film is going to spread throughout the country. And it will really change people's perspective of the Vietnamese people of the war, and also American veterans who, our American veterans, along with the Vietnamese people, have been portrayed terrible in Hollywood movies. Terrible, and it's not the truth. So this is the beginning. And I think we're on a journey to right a wrong. And to me, many people suffered and sacrificed during the Vietnam War. And what better way than to tell the truth, to honor them?
Thank you so much, Mr. Koster, and Mrs. Koster, Heidi, and then Carmen Cabana, for being here with us and telling my viewers about the truth about the movie. Again, please go to the theater. Thưa quý vị, xin quý vị nhớ đến xem rạp phim Ride the Thunder tại rạp Regency Theater tại thành phố Westminster. Sự đóng góp của quý vị chắc chắn sẽ giúp cho cuốn phim này được chiếu rộng rãi toàn nước Mỹ sau ngày 2 tháng 4, và điều này sẽ là một niềm hãnh diện chung cho tất cả chúng ta, cũng như là một niềm an ủi lớn lao, niềm khích lệ cho tất cả những người đã cộng tác hoặc đã đóng trong cuốn phim Ride the Thunder của tác giả cũng như là nhà sản xuất chính, ông Richard Botkin. Xin cảm ơn quý vị đã theo dõi phần nói chuyện ngày hôm nay, và hẹn gặp lại quý vị trong chương trình kỳ tới. Thank you very much again.
Thank you very much.
Don't go. You just want to talk with me. Then I can go home. I promise you.
My dear Calm, the days here seem to be getting longer and harder. Or maybe I'm just getting weaker and weaker. Is this the communist paradise they told us about?
Major John Ripley served 2 tours in Vietnam and earned the Navy Cross. To you I present Major John Ripley.
Is it worth supporting the Vietnamese in their fight against communism? Let me tell you, it is.
You know what they're really doing over there? Killing for the American businessman. Imagine that, huh? Getting medals for killing babies.
Hey! There's no fighting in my bar!
This is not a prison.
This is the re-education camp.
Long live Ho Chi Minh!
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 Still show no gratitude! That is exactly what they want us to do, fighting among each other.
You listen to me. Look at me.
I don't want to go home in a box.
There are 700 of us, Ripley. There are probably about 20,000 communists over the river.
But if we can hold a bridge, we can defend Dong Ha.
My order is to hold Dong Ha. We will fight in Dong Ha, and we will die in Dong Ha.
How about this? You turn all that passion into making your wife happy.
I'm sorry.
Son, wouldn't go out there if I were you.
I know you wouldn't. But I'm not you.
The jungles are the walls of our prison. But we think of escape every day.
When you come home, I will be here waiting for you.
I promise you, come. I will come home to you.